This is J. Krishnamurti's fifth discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1969.
What happened, sir, with Mr. Morton? Have you had any news?
No. I don't know, nothing yet.
Are you going to telephone him or he's going to telephone you?
He didn't say exactly what he would do. We said to him that we told him, we put our viewpoint out, and that he could make his decision as he pleased. And we just left it at that. We didn't say any time
Right.
or by any.
Yes, he said he would consider what we asked.
Come on.
He said he would consider.
Ah. I'm sure you've already thrashed it out with Mrs. Simmons and with the rest of you, the question of freedom and authority. Can we discuss that a little? Which do you think is of greater significance, authority and freedom and intelligence? I believe the word authority comes the originator of an idea, the origin. He sets about going a new direction, a new idea, a new book, you follow a new way of life and so on. And freedom means also, doesn't it, a sense of not from anything, but to the sense of feeling freedom. Oh, that dog is going to be.
Freedom from danger.
Huh?
To want freedom from others.
And freedom from anything, to be free of anger, to be free from something, is really, isn't it? Freedom is a resistance rather than freedom. To say I am free from anger is really, I resist anger. From something is a form of resistance and not freedom. Right? I resist you Therefore I feel free from you. But that's not freedom. I resist the hierarchical authority of the established society, and I call that freedom. I resist, revolt, throw stones at it, whatever it is, and in resisting, I feel free. And when you look at it a little more closely, that's not freedom. So, freedom is something which is not from, it is in itself, from which you act, in which there is no resistance. Right? Which is intelligence. Authority, freedom, resistance, and intelligence. Right? I see the implications of authority as the perception, the seeing, the understanding of what is implied in authority. Domination, usurpation, obedience, disobedience, acceptance, non-acceptance. All that's implied in authority. And also, there is an understanding of authority, of freedom. Freedom from is a form of resistance and therefore not freedom. Now, to see authority and freedom, understand, requires intelligence. It is the intelligent act that made you go and see Mr. Morgan. Not because you are free to do what you want. I don't know. If you were free to do what you want, that means somebody resists you and therefore you resist. And so caught in a sense of frustration, all the rest of it. But you acted out of intelligence. We say, well, I went there and did this, that, told him this, and it's up to him. I don't know if you see this. You didn't accept his authority, or you asserted your authority, because we're a larger number than him. We could pick it and all the rest of it. But you did it out of consideration, out of real freedom, not of resistance. And therefore you went there without any authority. But you acted intelligently. Right? You see the relationship? Right? Now here there is a school, a group of people, a community in quotes. Building a thing together. Not I build and you cooperate with what I build, which is generally accepted as cooperation. I the designer, I the provider, I the builder, and you come and help me to build, which is not cooperation at all. So here is a school, a community, a living together, a communication together, a building together. And that requires a great deal of intelligence. Doesn't it? To do anything requires intelligence. And when we do things together, what place has authority and freedom in it?
What meaning are we giving to authority again?
Huh?
What meaning are we giving to authority, as you said in
What
the
it
beginning?
means, authority. Obedience, acceptance, denying, resist. If all that's implied in authority, disobedience, conformity, the authorization of action, and so on. Lots of things are involved. When we are building together, where is no wait, don't answer it yet. Look at it, don't jump into it yet. What place is authority in the sense we are using, and freedom? Answers. You say it's no good.
Well, if we're acting intelligently.
Wait. Therefore, but to act intelligently means also what? Go into it. Together. What place has authority in it? Together, as we are in this room, you couldn't have brought this place. Right? Together, as we are in this group, you couldn't have done all the work that has been done. In a limited time and within the money and so on, you couldn't have done it. Right? Somebody had to collect the money, buy the place, go into all the trouble of it. You follow? And we come along and say, well, no authority. We are free. Right? See the position you put me into. Suppose X collects the money, goes through all the business of it, produces this place, and we come along and say, no authority. We'll work together, but no authority.
Then, if we say that, then we're resisting. Then we're part of authority.
That's just it. Therefore, what does that mean?
Means we're not acting intelligently.
Which means what? Go into it, sir, go into it. Don't jump into it yet. Which means what? You went to see Mr. Morton. He is the authority. Right? Because he says this is law. I've agreed to that. Right? And you went there intelligently and you saw his position and you had to accept it.
But then we're here for a reason.
Huh?
We're here for a reason.
We are here for a reason.
Each of us is here to do
Go into it, sir. We are here for a reason. To be educated, to learn, to work together, to bring about a different human being. A human being who is not merely emotional object. You follow what I mean? Merely extrovert or introvert or all the rest of it. A human being. Highly sensitive and intelligent. That's what we are here for. Right? That needs cooperation of all the each one of us. Right?
If we know this and we act together, then like if we have to deal with someone in a position of authority, someone we want to do something and they want to do it with us.
Here we are. Just look at it. Take a whole, look at the whole picture. Don't take one part of it. You follow? Take the whole picture. I happen to deal with the outside world. I represent this place because I pay tax and, police and write to parents, this and that, and go do this, don't do that, clean up this mess, clean up that mess, right? I assume or I take the responsibility of authority of working together. Right? I happen to be the authority in courts. Because I have to do things. You can't all do it together. Right? You can't all see the policeman. Or all together pay the taxes. There must be an overseer who sees the whole thing, the garden, the vegetables, the education, the meals, the laundries, the sheets, the cleaning up. But we're all cooperating, but I have to look at the whole thing. Taxes, collecting money, going to people and say, for God's sake, we need more money. You follow? That means you help me to build together, but give me a certain part in the whole thing. Because I happen to be there. I don't know if you follow this. So you won't revolt against me. You won't say, but we are free, we have no authority.
Excuse me, sir, this is a technical authority.
Huh?
What you were talking about is only a...
No, wait. Technical, we are discussing technical, she says, technical authority, right? Right?
Yeah.
I see that you're doing something not right. Right? I said, but this is going to affect the whole school. If you went to that pub at Westmead and drank yourself sick, you follow what I mean? You would create a very bad reputation for the school. You follow what I mean? So I said, please, be careful. be wise, be intelligent, look out. On you, who represent the group, you follow? On you, who are part of this whole building together, be very careful how you behave outside. Because they're watching, they're criticizing, they're saying, you follow? So what you do will affect the whole thing. So I say to you, not only technically, be careful, old boy, do watch. Because we're all concerned. Would you call that authority? Huh? If I say, be careful, don't go to the pub and get drunk. Go to the pub occasionally for a beer or whatever you do, but you are now in a position where you are not alone. Because we're all together in this. I don't know if you follow this. You can't just say, I go and do what I like. And when you do, which we happen to be, because we are all young, full of beans, vitality, and I have come around and say, please, be careful. Don't do it. It isn't authority that is speaking, right? It is the consideration of the whole of the school, which you may not consider. Because I have to watch, write to the parents, I have to pay the taxes, I have to collect the money, I have to watch over you, your health, your food, your sheets, your laundry, your dirt. You follow? I'm responsible. You wouldn't call that authority, would you? But I may occasionally say, irritably, for God's sake, behave. And if you are fairly intelligent, say, poor chap, he's tired, I'll go easy. Right? So, where does authority come in this? Both technical and the other. I don't know if I'm conveying something to you.
Authority then can only come in from me. I mean, I can say this is authority.
No, you're misunderstood. Let me explain this more. I am responsible. Because I happen to be like Mrs. Simmons. She is responsible to the foundation, you understand? And to me, because I asked her to come here and do it. I said to her, we'll collect money, we'll work together, we'll build together, we'll help together. You follow? We'll do everything together. But you're responsible. Right? She may misuse that responsibility. I hope she won't, but she may. She said, Pacho, this gives me a tremendous opportunity to develop my ego. Right? Or she may say, Pacho, I am responsible, therefore I have to be watchful of everything that's going on. Watchful. And I say to you, please, do something properly, or don't do this. Because I see the vegetables, you follow? The whole of it. And she has to make a response which is worthwhile to the foundation and to the person connected with it. At the end of 6 months, she says, sorry, I can't manage it. It's all gone out of my hand. Everybody's up the tree. I have no more money. I say, for God's sake. You follow the difference? one can assume egotistic authority. Which means derive pleasure in using the position, use that as a means of one's own gratification. Then that's not worth it. It's ugly. Right? But if I don't use that egotistic, assertive pleasure, but see, look, I'm responsible for your health, old boy, be careful. I have to go and talk to the doctor. And you say, but you're exercising authority. When I'm feeling very well, you know what I mean? But she may look at you differently and say, but Joe, I've watched that young chap, he's not feeling too well, he's depressed, he's not sleeping enough, whatever it is. As we said, this is a family, right? Let's bear that, but this is your home. Not, it is real home because you're going to be 8 months here. And even the most stupidest family, there is the mother or the father says, please, I have to get money, I have to get out laundry, you follow? But when that mother and father assume the supreme authority of direction, which is born out of egotistic pleasure, then it becomes destructive. I don't know if I'm making. Therefore, when I see all that, authority, freedom, intelligence, right? It is the intelligence that's going to build the thing together. Not you're saying I'm free to accept authority or not. You get my point? Right. So can we work like that with Mrs. Simmons? And you follow and say, look sir, look madam, I've already talked to her, you follow, before we started the school. Before we started anything. We said, look, this is going to be something totally new, which no school exists before in the world. Something entirely different. Otherwise it isn't worth starting. Because there are thousands of ordinary schools where you're given information crammed into you. You follow what I mean? No intelligence, no relationship, nothing. Here we said we're going to create something new. I know we've discussed with Mrs. Simmons and Mr. Simmons for a long time of the whole issue. Right? Please, if I overstep the boundary, please correct me. And we said to her, will you take charge? You follow, sir? Take charge of it. What it means, a family, working together, seeing it, you follow? The whole thing together, we are creating it together. Will you take charge of it? Which doesn't mean she assumes authority. But she has to see the overall picture, which you and I can't see. And so she says to you or to me or to X, don't do this. And if I am at all alert, watchful, I said, I discuss it over with her. And I see the reason. I don't reject her by saying, you're exercising authority. Then I haven't understood the whole relationship of building together, something together. Is this clear? So, we put Mrs. Simmons in a tremendous, in a position of great delicacy. Right? I don't know if we're going together? In a position of great delicacy, because she herself says, but Joe, I must also be very careful not to use my egotistic pleasures in this. Also, I must be responsible for the sheets, for the food, for the garden, for looking after their health, seeing the whole thing moves in the right direction. You follow? And we have given her that position. Right? Not somebody else has given it. If she hadn't been here, if Mr. and Miss Simmons had been, Hoppenboy shouldn't have got this place. I don't know if you know anything about this place, I can tell you a little bit. Here, you know anything about me? You don't. I'm not showing off. I'm not being personal, but I'm just stating facts. When I was a small boy, 8 or 9 or less, they found a group of people. I won't go into all that, that's irrelevant. They said, you'll be a great teacher at the age of 8 or 9. They built a tremendous organization around me, all over the world, saying I was going to be a great teacher, and it was misused as the Messiah, and so on, so on, so on. Then there was a lot of property, 5,000 acres and a castle in Holland, lot of money. And about 1928, when I began, before that I began to talk, but in 1928, I said this is all wrong. To have property, position, authority. So we disbanded the whole thing, gave the property away. And I began to, the person went all over the world talking. But there remained an organization called K. Writing Ojai. My name, Writing Incorporated, Ojai, California, which had all the money, you follow? All the books, all the archives, all the things which one has written, things unpublished. And gradually that few people got hold of that, legally. I signed away paper, trusting the person. I'm just telling you not to arouse any emotional reaction. And the person says, you're out. There's plenty of money there. You could run this place like more. But you can't get any money from there. And last year, at this time, we were discussing how to get a place. We went to see several places in England. England was chosen because a group of people investigated whether it should be in England, Switzerland, France, or Holland. These people said, best place is England. Then we searched for a place and eventually spotted this. And there was not a sect. Do you understand? Not a sect. And this place cost £42,000. Quite a great deal, $100,000. But anyhow, I knew somebody who had given money, and I said, can I use that money to buy this place? Agreed, and we bought this place. Right? And there was a foundation, K Foundation in England, and so on, so on, so on. So this place came in as a miracle. I don't know how it happened. When we hadn't a sou, it happened. And we said to Mrs. Simmons and Mr. Simmons, will you run this show, this circus? And that's how the whole thing happened. And there are two schools in the north and in the south, in India, with which I'm still connected. If everything goes well, as I'm going to India in November in a few weeks, I want to see, it would be good if we could make those two schools and the schools together. You follow? Exchange teachers, students, and money, whatever money we have, build the whole thing to something marvelous. And I've been to India with those schools for 30 years, more, talking there every year. But you see in India, the teachers are generally those people who are incapable of doing anything else. You understand? They get a degree and can't do anything. So they become teachers. Rather poor quality. Because for every job there are 3,000 or 4,000 people. They advertised in Madras, I was told, for a cook. BAs, MAs, PhDs turned up. You know what that means? And a BA or an MA got the job as a cook. Never done a thing in the kitchen, but he became a cook. Because he couldn't do anything else. Because there are too many people. So when I go to India, we're going to go into all that, reorganize it if possible, and then see if we can't bring it all together. So all that means responsibility. You follow? Not authority. I don't know. There is a difference between responsibility and authority. The responsibility can become the authoritarian voice and so destroy the whole thing. Or the responsibility can become something creative together. And so it depends on you and Mrs. Simmons. Full stop. That's all that I've said, I've said. Right? I go to these two schools, one in the north near Benares. You know where Benares is? It's on the river. It's one of the most marvelous rivers. In the rainy season, which is June, July, I forget now, I've never been in the rainy season there. The water rises to 40, 50 feet high. You know what that means? Huh? Cleans the whole river and then subsides in the winter. It's on the banks of that. There are about 300 or 400 acres there. Tremendously rich property. I was responsible in choosing the place, you know all the rest of it. And also there's a place in the south, near Madras, about 170 miles from Madras, away from the sea. There are again 400 acres, marvelous place. Only there's not much water, but lovely place. Like California, hills and, lovely. Again, it happened. One was responsible for it. So I go there and talk to the teachers, boys. I used to spend months in each place. But you see, India is a very difficult place because the teachers, the parents, they don't want anything new. They want the old repetition, passing exams, getting a degree, getting a job, family, repeat. That's all I could say. So when I go there, I'm going to make everything responsible for everyone. You follow? And you have to collect a lot of money. Of that you know nothing about, we have to do it. Tremendous lot of money. So that's why we were talking with Mrs. Simmons the other day, how we're going to do it, where the money is coming from. There'll be enough for a year or so, but after that we'll have, we're going to work for it. This is not going to die. It's not going to be liquidated. Right? Is that enough? It's all clear, isn't it?